Hello there everybody, and welcome back to Tree of Tranquility. We are now on the 13th day of fall. I've had a bit of an opportunity to play the game and to talk more with my daughter. In the last video, she grew up and we now have a child that we can talk to. We can give her gifts, we can learn a little bit more about her personality, get her to do chores, and go for a walk with her. I've also changed my outfit into this nice purple outfit, and I kind of like that everything matches so beautifully. I'm wearing purple, Chase is wearing purple, my daughter's wearing purple, my house is purple. I like it. It looks nice. So by talking to my daughter, I found out that she's a little bit of a snob, actually, which doesn't particularly surprise me because she's Chase's daughter, and I don't necessarily think that Chase is a snob, but I think he's the type that kind of hides behind emotions. You can see here I've given her some herbal tea, which she loves, and although she compliments me for it, she then kind of backpedals a little bit and takes away that gratitude. And you can kind of see that personality in Chase as well, and once you get to know him, of course, he opens up and he's a total sweetheart. But you talk to her and she's not really a incredibly sweet, thankful, grateful kid. She's actually kind of a brat, which I don't know, I'm not too upset about, because I think, you know, having a challenging child is a good challenge and whatnot, and it does kind of reflect on her dad's personality, and hopefully she'll open up a little bit more. I think she's only at 5 or 6 hearts currently. If I go down my list and look, it looks like she is currently at about 7, so she's got three more hearts to warm up a little bit more. But I do kind of like it in a way as well, because it shows that kids aren't always nice and sweet, and that they go through different stages as they grow up. So I would be very, very curious to see all the different types of childs in the game and the different kinds of personalities. And I looked it up, and if you marry Chase, obviously you'll get the same daughter that I have, but you'll also get the same daughter if you marry Luna, Calvin, or Selena. So you actually have 2 male bachelors and 2 female bachelorettes that will have the same child, exact same outfit, exact same hair, all of that. I've also gone ahead and I've experimented with her chore list. You can see here I get into arguments with my friends, but they're never my fault. That's just kind of how her personality is shining through so far. And what I've done is I've kind of gone through the chore list, and I've picked all the different chores for her to do: watering crops, picking the crops, milking, and collecting eggs. And what I've found is that she's actually very good at doing all of the chores. She complains about them all, of course. Her dialogue is the same for each chore that I ask her to do, but she does a good job in all of the chores that I ask her to do. So unlike Animal Parade, the job picking system is a little bit unsophisticated. In Animal Parade, certain children and certain spouses are better at certain jobs than others, depending on their personality, which I think is really nice and really in-depth. But because Animal Parade came after Tree of Tranquility, that's probably a feature that they decided to add in afterwards. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take her out for a walk. And this is just like taking your pet out for a walk, in that it increases your friendship with her. I'll come with you, I don't really care. So she's like 10 going on like 16 is kind of how I feel. So if you take her out for a walk, she'll follow you around. I actually like her little run, it's quite cute. She tries to keep up with you with her stubby little child legs. She actually does a fairly good job of keeping up. I'm gonna go ahead and water these. Now, I had given her the task of watering, and if you'd get out of my way, please, I would love to water this. And when I asked her to water everything for me, she actually managed to water all the crops that I had, which was nice. And apparently she doesn't mind that I just sprinkle her with my watering can, which is great. So whether it's picking up eggs and cocoons, because she'll also pick up the cocoons, or whether it's picking crops, watering crops, or milking, she actually seems pretty inept in all of those things. So whatever chore you don't feel like doing, or whatever chore you'd like help with, you can ask your child to do them, and they will do them for you. Now, I haven't kept her outdoors for an entire day. I know that your animal will go home at a certain time. I think they go home around like 7 p.m. I don't have my milker on me, do I? Nope. Okay, I was gonna milk my cow, but I guess not. Sorry, cow. Sorry, goat. No milking for you today. I must have put it away. But I know that your cat, your dog, your penguin, your panda, whatever animal you have in your house, if you take them out for a walk, they will automatically go home when it starts to get dark. And I have not yet done that with my daughter. I've taken her out for a good chunk of the day, but I think I've brought her back home at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So what I plan to do today, because I don't really have much else to talk about, is I'm going to take her over to where we planted the seedling. I'm going to make her jog all the way up the mountain with me, and we're going to see the ending cutscene for the game's story today. So I'll go ahead and we will pick up the stuff in here. She won't follow you into buildings, but she will be waiting outside when I come back out. If you go inside of your house, then the walk is considered over, and oh, I have a bag of feed and now I have nothing to... Darn it, I picked up an extra bag. It's alright, I'll just put it here for now. You can go into any building except for your house. If you're on a walk with your pet, with your child, then going back home signifies the end of the walk. It's kind of like dropping them off at home. So we're not going to do that. We're going to walk either until we come back home or until it gets late. So of course I've continued to give out gifts, and I've just been sort of going day by day. I also talked to various villagers while my daughter was out with me on a walk, and none of them seemed to really have any unique dialogue about that. I know that if you talk to some of the villagers while you're out walking with your pet, they'll make a comment about your pet, but that does not appear to be the case with your child. If you speak to bachelors and bachelorettes, after your child is fully grown, they'll have unique dialogue for that though, which I went and did. And if you remember from the last video, we went ahead and we planted that final seedling that we had gotten eons ago that turned out to be the actual mother tree sprout. We had planted 2 seedlings. Both turned out to be bogus, and the third time's a charm. The third one that we've planted is the real seedling, and all you really have to do is let it grow for about 3 in-game days and then return. There's no indication of this at all. It doesn't tell you, oh hey, I should go back and check on the mother seedling. None of that. You don't get any of that. But you just leave it for a couple days, come back and check on it, and you will get the final cutscene that we are about to see, which signifies the end of the game. Now I'm actually curious. Hold on, it is impossible to extend all. Okay, I was just about to say, as I was coming up to that log, I thought, I wonder if our kid's gonna be able to cross this. But apparently, they do not allow us to come up the mountain either with your child or your pet. So there we go, that's an interesting tidbit that we learned today. I did not know that. Well, she's gotten her exercise, so I guess we'll walk her back home, drop her off, and we will come back I was hoping that there would be a special or a differing cutscene for the ending of the game if you brought your child, and that's kind of what I was hoping to do, but it looks like the game locks you out of that, unfortunately, so I think the cutscene will be the same whether or not you have a child or not. The other thing I never tried to do, now that it has occurred to me, is I've never tried to take my child over to Toucan Island. It probably won't let me. I'm sure that it wouldn't let me, but wouldn't that be cool if you could take your kid over to the island? That would be a really nice, like, family vacation. I think she would love that. Go to the beach, see all the cool exotic animals, do some fishing, some sun tanning. Alright, let's drop her off at home. And the thing I found very bizarre about this is that it recycles the dialogue from walking your pet when you walk with your child. So it says you brought your pet back home, even though you're walking with a child. So in this text box, it recognizes your child as a pet. But there's another text box that usually pops up, and it says something along the lines of, that walk strengthen the bond between you and blank, and it will put the name of your child. So it's a very odd, perhaps, oversight that they didn't think about, because obviously my daughter is not a pet, she's a person. So on days when you have your child doing chores, they'll usually stick around the farm, and it usually takes a good chunk of the day for them to do everything that you've asked them to do. And on days when you don't ask them to do chores, they might go about and do their own thing. I should actually put her on the tracker and see if she's taken off somewhere, because I usually go out and do my own thing. I don't stalk my own kid to find out where she is. So yeah, you can see she's out in the Maple Lake District. So they will venture from home, and they'll kind of do their own thing and have their own schedule, similar to your spouse. And it is important to remember that once you take your child or you take a pet for a walk, you're pretty much stuck with them until you drop them off, or until time runs up. So I didn't have any other option other than to run her home, because there is no option to speak to her and then tell her to go home or that the walk is over. You actually have to manually take them back to the house. So learn from my mistake. Don't do that. Don't get all the way up the mountain and realize you have to turn yourself around. So once enough time passes, you can head into the mother tree, the goddess spring. You can see all the little harvest sprites dancing. Thank you, you finally found the right seedling. The mother tree is back! It's still just a sapling, but it'll grow bigger and eventually become the huge tree that it used to be. We'll stay here and take care of it. We'll make sure it grows big and strong. To tell you the truth, the 5 of us were fighting about the mother tree before. Yes, we were. We blamed each other for the fact that the mother tree died. You guys... Oh, please don't cry. I'm so sorry that we ever fought. Oh, please don't start crying. It's okay. All is forgiven. Don't worry. I'm sorry. So sorry. Thank you so much, Nick. The seedling that you planted is growing just fine. So there you go. We put the new seedling for the new mother tree inside of the kind of trunk of the old dead mother tree. So the new one is going to replace the old, and hopefully everything is going to return the way it used to be with this new mother tree in place. So that is a rather lackluster sort of ending to the game. It's really, really anticlimactic, but I am going to sleep a couple of days, and I'm going to see if anything else happens. I'm going to see about maybe going to the top of the mountaintop where I had spoken to the harvest goddess and maybe seeing if she's back and I can speak to her. And I do know that there is sort of a new game plus to this game, similar to how Animal Parade was, and I'm sure that that's the case with this game as well. So I may be doing another video. I probably will do another video once I figure out those last few questions that I have about any more possible ending material to the end of this game. Because I may have to just let some time pass for that to take place. I'm sure that now that I've watched the sort of ending and I've concluded that, that it will be only a matter of time before I figure out other things that may have been missed or may have not yet come up. So really, that's it. Because once again, at this end stage of the game, it's just a lot of routine, but I have managed to befriend my daughter a little bit, and hopefully we can see that nice sweet side of her come out once I get a few more hearts with her. Just by scrolling through my list of friends, you can see that I've really been continuing on my journey to befriend everybody in the village, and I think I'm doing a fairly decent job at it. Some villagers more than others. Again, it's a work in progress, but I feel like I've spent a lot of time giving out gifts, getting to know people, and that takes up a nice big chunk of my day and prevents me from just going to sleep, waking up, and going right back to sleep again. So hopefully there's a little bit more content left to the game that I've missed, stuff that hasn't really come up yet, and when they do, and if they do, I will be sure to update you guys and let you know what else is going on. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.